Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Logan coming at you from Hunting Pros, and welcome back to another video. Every year I drop a top 5 waterfowl shots video. So that's what this video is going to be all about. We're going to be going over my favorite moments from the 2023-2024 season. And before we get too far, last season I did exclusively use Kent cartridge products. I use Fasteel Plus, I use Fasteel 2.0, I use all-purpose steel, and I even use Bismuth. All of those shells rock, guys, and this season I'm going to be using Kent cartridge products once again. So starting with clip number 5, and please excuse me if you see or hear my buddy Hopper here in the background. He is quite the companion dog and he loves to sit next to me. Honestly, guys, on a side note, I'm really excited to hunt him this season. It's going to be his first year hunting with me, so stay tuned for that. Clip number 5 took place on opening day in Zone 2 in Nova Scotia. The weather was forecasted to be really nice, but there wasn't going to be much wind, so I didn't expect a lot of natural movement with the birds, but it was opening day and I wanted to get out. Anyway, there was a lot of talk in the local duck hunting community. People were saying they wanted to get out, so I knew it was also going to be a busy morning. So inevitably, my buddy Charles and I decided to head out extra early to claim a spot. We ended up leaving our houses at I think it was around midnight. We got out to the spot shortly after 1 in the morning, and we ended up just sitting there until the sun came up. So you can imagine that was a long 4 or 5 hours, but it was worth the wait because by 4:30 in the morning, all you could see going up and down the harbor and the channels was headlights. And actually a couple people tried to come to where we were set up, so I'm glad we went when we did. Anyway, as you can imagine, when the sun came up, it sounded like World War III out there. I'm not kidding you. There must have been at least 40, 50 shots within the first hour. So I'm not used to that. I'm not used to hunting really crowded areas. And honestly, what ended up happening with the amount of hunters that were out there, I'd say there was probably at least a dozen groups. All the birds that were in that harbor ended up leaving. So Charles and I kind of hemmed and hawed, wondering if we should stay or not. And then around 8, 9 o'clock, shortly after everybody else started noticing what was going on, people started to leave. So Charles and I just decided, you know what, it's opening day, it's beautiful this morning, let's just sit out here, we have nothing to lose. And honestly, it paid off because we ended up shooting a lot of birds that day. When the tide switched, sometime around 10:30, 11 o'clock, the birds started coming back, and by then, most of the other hunters had already left, so really we had them all to ourselves at that point. The first bird that came in was a lone green-winged teal. It swooped right into the decoys. I jumped up, I shot it. I didn't make the most clean shot on it, I'll be honest, and it ended up crippling in some grass across the channel we were set up in front of. So I ended up walking across the channel, which is about waist deep, maybe a little bit higher. And I'm in the grass, I seen where it dropped, I'm looking for it. That's where this guy's gonna come into play this season. Hopefully he'll be doing that type of work for me. Anyway, I'm out there looking, and all of a sudden I hear Charles back in the blind about 100 yards behind me coming onto his duck call. I said, geez, there must be a duck coming. So I'm looking, didn't see anything, so I get right down, not knowing where the duck's coming from, in case Charles did want to shoot it. I didn't want to scare it away. Anyway, I started hearing whistling, and literally right over my head, like a stone's throw away, another green-winged teal was flying over. So I jumped up, fired at it, and killed it. That's clip number 5. Got him. So clip number 4 took place during the mid-season, and honestly, guys, the weather was the exact opposite as what I referenced in the previous clip. It was windy. My buddy Scotty and I, who I hadn't hunted with in probably 3 or 4 years, headed out into tidal waters in his boat. Luckily, he has a really big 16-foot, really wide, deep boat that can handle waves. It was expected to blow 25 to 30 knots of wind that day. And when we first got there, it was nothing but whitecaps going up and down the channel. I knew it was going to be a rough day. At one point during the hunt, we were sitting in the blind and 2 beautiful buffleheads flew into the spread. We jumped up and we each killed one. So that's clip number 4.
Kill him, bud. Good shooting.
That Kent does it, eh?
Oh yeah, I can't.
Clip number 3 is an interesting one, and by saying that, as a duck hunter, have you ever made a shot on a duck and then sat back and wondered afterwards, how did I just kill that bird, and how did I just make that shot? Well, honestly, in this situation, that was me. My buddy Mike took me out to a duck blind I had never hunted before, but out of all the days I went out, after seeing this spot, I really thought it was going to be a slam dunk of a hunt. The blind was scouted the day before, there was lots of birds tending to this area, the wind was directly on our back, blowing quite a bit, which typically in an ideal world would mean that any ducks that come should come breast on into the decoys and present a good target. Well, let me tell you, there was almost zero bird movement this day, and the birds that we did see wanted nothing to do with this area. So after a couple hours of frustration, finally we heard some whistling. I looked up, and I'll backtrack a little bit. The way we were set up, we were in a heavily wooded area. There was kind of big woods behind us with thickets on either side, and right in front of us was the channel we were hunting over. Well, these two ducks were flying through the thick stuff over our heads. And I looked up, and I wasn't really considering shooting, and then I noticed this gap between two branches, and I told myself, if those ducks go between that gap, I'm gonna fire. And guess what? That's right where they went. I kind of drawed quick at them, and I fired, and I killed one of them. So that is clip number 3.
Right over us. I got one.
Yep. I didn't even get to fire. I couldn't see them. Nice shot.
I got one through the trees.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Clip number 2 took place during one of the last days of the season. And out of all the things that went well during this hunt, I just remember how brutally cold it was. Honestly, it got to the point after the first 5 or 10 minutes, I was debating going home. It was that cold, but I'm glad I stayed because I ended up killing my limit of black ducks. And what it taught me was always bring extra layers, and even if you don't wear them, keep them in the boat so that you can go back and get them. This clip was of the last 2 black ducks that came in. I was sitting in the blind with my Beretta over under shotgun. I was talking to the camera. All of a sudden, I seen them coming in. I jumped up and I killed both birds, which limited me out for the day. That is clip number 2.
But it is what it is. We have 2 birds, and there's one coming in right now. So let's see if it comes. There's 2 of them. Got 1. Got 2. And that is a black duck limit. Woo! Black duck limit.
And just like that, we made it to clip 1, guys. We're at the finish line. If you did enjoy this video, please slap the like button, also subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. I'm not going to bore you with more dialogue after rolling the hunting footage, so I'm just going to conclude it there. Also, if you guys could leave me a comment below just telling me what you think of the video, if you like seeing stuff like this, it would be greatly appreciated as well. Or you could also let me know of any suggested content. If you have anything you'd like me to do, let me know. This hunt took place on opening day in Nova Scotia in Zone 1. Zone 1 is a far distance from where I live. This particular place where we hunted on this day is easily probably 2 to 2.5 hours away. Every year for the past few years, we have been going to the spot. Me, my buddy Charles, my buddy Tony, we've been meeting there. And really, because we can't scout it, because it's so far away, we kind of just go there on a whim. We know there's lots of birds that go there, but we just don't know where they tend and whatnot. So we went on a whim and we made it work. We ended up getting there before the sun came up. We set up with a big berm on our back. We kind of put some natural cover over us. It looked like a spot a duck would want to go, so that's the way we set up. Anyway, at opening light, we had a nice flock of mallards come in, which was great to see. Unfortunately, they kind of short-stopped the decoys and they landed 50 to 60 yards out from us. We wanted to get them in a bit closer, so we waited. After waiting a couple minutes, they did kind of paddle in towards us. We jumped up. Being rusty, none of us had shot in quite a while. We ended up only killing 2 of the ducks. The shooting wasn't the greatest, but the story's pretty good. So, hopefully this season Hopper will make retrieves like this for me, but I ended up walking out there, picking up the birds, and the second bird I picked up had a band on it. And honestly, guys, it was just a great way to start the season. You know, having a bird picked up, the first set of birds you shoot in the season, having a band on it, it just made for a great start of the year. So that is clip number 1, guys. Once again, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, stay tuned for next time. Try now.
No way, boys. Got a band.
Really? That's wicked.
No friggin' way. Woo!